go. That's in your house, right?
All right, Tiffany, we all set? We ready to go? All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate you being here today. I'm Secretary Gary Westcott. We're here today for a couple things. We're going to announce recent leadership changes at Department of Public Safety and Corrections over here at our headquarters, and to give an update on Elaine Hunt Correctional Media Stories, or at least what we can update. I want to thank you to my leadership here, also State Police Lieutenant Colonel Frank Besson, Sheriff Brett Stassi, and 18th Judicial District Attorney Tony Clayton for being here and supporting us. They've been working hand in hand with us throughout this period. I'd also like to recognize Representative Edmund Jordan in the St. Gabriel area. We've had informative conversations with both of these legislators, and I thank them for their support and interest in helping out with us here at Elaine Hunt Correctional Center. So last month we had a couple of changes. Basically, Jamie Lee replaced Derek Ellis as our Deputy Secretary. Tammy Grant replaced longtime Undersecretary Thomas Bickham as our Undersecretary, which basically handles all financial issues, Chief of Staff type duties. And then our former Rayburn Correctional Center Warden Travis Day was voluntold to come over here and help us at Elaine Hunt Correctional Center, and he replaced Warden Keith Turner. I would like to say that I want to really thank Derek Ellis, who a lot of y'all got to meet because he was over communications, for filling in as the Deputy Secretary here part-time, because Jamie Lee, also known as Colonel Lee, was activated by the Louisiana National Guard in Poland, leading his brigade in support of the Baltic region. Derek was a great asset, being he held previous leadership positions in both probation and parole and corrections prior to him retiring in 2023. So his experience and knowledge in my transition as secretary. He will take a few weeks off and then he will come back in a part-time role assisting the secretary's office. I'd also like to thank former Warden Keith Turner for his military service to our country and for his public service to the Department of Public Safety and Corrections and the state of Louisiana. Warden Turner was making a difference at Elaine Hunt Correctional Center during his 8 months that he was detailed into this new leadership role. But of course, where there is change, there is also those that resist change, and some that want to keep up the status quo, and they want to disrupt things. So in the end, Warden Turner felt that his family and his legacy was being targeted and tarnished unjustly by circumstances that he did not cause. Warden Turner was a great public servant and even a better person, and he did not deserve this unfair treatment, especially being he could have retired at any time with 100% of his salary, being he had 33 years of service with the state of Louisiana. So I wish him and his family well and congratulate him publicly on his outstanding corrections. In regards to Elaine Hunt Correctional Center and unexpected deaths, everyone at the Department of Public Safety and Corrections truly care for the incarcerated individuals that we are charged to secure and care for, and we take this responsibility serious. Unexpected does not mean overdose. I'm going to repeat that. Unexpected does not mean overdose. We did not have 3 overdoses this month, as one media outlet suggested. Unexpected medical issues and suspected overdoses are all labeled unexpected until an autopsy is completed. When I became secretary, at the recommendation of Chief Seth Smith, we replaced the deputy warden position at Elaine Hunt Correctional Center with a hospital administrator position due to the aging and ailing population in that prison that are having the same illnesses that all of us see and deal with in the free world. Yes, this includes serious drug addiction issues, commonly referred to as substance abuse disorder, that we are seeing throughout our state and our nation. At our National Correction Leaders Association, held in December, almost every state leader, it's all the secretaries and commissioners and directors, we all attend there. Every one of us had the top 3 concerns in corrections. Number 1, lack of staffing and hiring, the decreasing number of quality applicants due to pay. Number 2, contraband entering the prisons. And number 3, mistrust in the media and lack of the media covering, wanting to cover positive stories. Every one of the states that we dealt with, all are dealing with some of these 3 issues that we did. So this is not unique to Hunt Correctional. as most of the media are suggesting, and contraband in jails and prisons are sadly nothing new. In 1991, I was hired as probation pro. I was a naive probation officer, thinking I could come in and make a difference. One of my clients had a drug problem. I sent him to a substance abuse clinic. He came back 6 months later and said there was more drugs in that prison than he had on the street. It's ongoing. Back then, it was marijuana and crack. Today, we're dealing with a different animal. You're talking about smoking roach spray and dipping paper in bleach, along with meth, pills, fentanyl, synthetic marijuana, and other pesticides. You're talking about paper the size of this little corner that are getting people high. This could be deadly in some situations. That's what we're chasing right now, and that's what we're searching for. It's a very different world than when I started in 1991. Today, over 70% of our prison population in the state of Louisiana, not just Hunt, have either a substance abuse related charge or substance abuse diagnosis. Add to that the mental health population now in our jails and prisons, instead of being in mental health institutions or hospitals like in the past, and you could see the troubles we're facing. Substance abuse addicts are not magically cured just because they enter the walls of the jail. Some will choose to do whatever or ingest whatever, even if there are deadly consequences. The reality is we follow all the best practices and prevention methods. We utilize many inmate programs, especially faith-based programs. We constantly increase security measures, but there is still no easy fix. This will continue to be a daily fight for our staff, trying to do the right thing. And unfortunately, yes, it is a financial opportunity for some of our staff that are here for the wrong reason and easily manipulated by the evils that exist. Chief Smith and Warden Day will elaborate a little bit more on this later. In regards to media attention, legally, we are limited by HIPAA, due process of pending investigations, and privacy matters to discuss deaths and major prison incidents. This does not mean that we don't care or that we're not doing anything to prevent these incidents. We just have boundaries, unlike the media. It seems like you guys all have inside sources who, if they are employees, they should be reporting any of this criminal activity to the warden and the leadership if they really care to stop it. In my opinion, they're not trying to stop it because these sources are probably the ones that are engaging in criminal activities, telling you all and us to look to the left when they're operating on the right. This is very common in corrections. I wish some of you would work with us and come forth with your sources so we could try and prevent a potential tragedy in advance. So I'm asking in the future, work with us when you're intel, and I promise you, you will get an exclusive if that's what you're after. Also, I see reporters and investigative journalists all the time doing ride-alongs with police officers or going through simulated shoot, don't shoot scenarios to see what those officers deal with and how they have seconds to react. How about you come work a few 12-hour shifts at Elaine Hunt Correctional Center and see what my correctional officers deal with daily, being verbally attacked, possibly having urine and feces thrown on them, and constantly harassed while just trying to get through their day. Lastly, to the Elaine Hunt Correctional Officers, I am truly sorry that you're going through this. I know that there's a handful of bad employees, but 99% of you are dedicated correctional professionals that are trying to make a difference. You treat our incarcerated population with dignity, professionalism, and compassion. So thank you for all you do. And I assure you, I will keep fighting as secretary to get you better pay, more resources, and acceptable working conditions that you could be proud to say you work at Elaine Hunt Correctional Center. I will now turn it over to Chief of Prison Operations, Seth Smith.
Good afternoon. I'm Seth Smith, Chief of Prison Operations. First, I want to say that one preventable death is too many, and that no warden or any prison administrator wants or ignores such deaths. Second, I want to say that Elaine Hunt Correctional Center is the most complex prison in the state. Hunt houses the inmates with the most significant medical issues. Hunt houses the inmates with the most significant mental health issues. It also serves as a primary intake facility for the department. It's also one of 3 facilities that can actually house life sentence inmates without a waiver. A large percentage of deaths reported at Hunt are natural deaths, as to be expected with the population that's housed there. In the event of an unexpected death, an autopsy is typically requested. If it comes back as an overdose, it is reported as such. If we suspect an overdose, an extended toxicology is requested where the body's tested for over 400 chemicals. We are transparent and deaths are ultimately reported on our online dashboard. In 2025, we had 18 unexpected deaths at Elaine Hunt. 11 were determined to be by natural causes, 1 suicide, 2 overdoses, and 4 that are currently pending autopsy. 3 deaths were reported in the last week of January involving Elaine Hunt inmates. I want to be clear, 2 of those were purely medical, in which a do not resuscitate order had been ordered and was written and followed. The third involved a man that was almost 70 years old with known cardiac issues. An autopsy is pending on that one, but it's high probability it too will come back to be medical in nature. As the Secretary said, over 70% of the population is identified as having drug issues. Housing roughly 2,000 inmates with known drug issues and not expecting to have drugs is not realistic. And unfortunately, the drugs today have a higher lethality than in the past. Fentanyl, mojo, or synthetic cannabinoids, and zombie, a concoction made from roach spray or other insecticides, are often lethal. In addition, we have reports of weed killer, floor wax, and other chemicals being ingested. Grown men making the choice to ingest substances that definitely can be lethal, and they carry some responsibility. Now, as prison administrators, we don't allow drugs in prison. Drugs should not get in prison, but the reality is there are drugs in all prisons. This is not a fact we just accept and move on. In the year 2025, we conducted 7 multi-unit searches at Elaine Hunt. This is where we bring in officers from other facilities to come in and assist in looking for contraband. In these searches, a total of 418 officers and 39 canines were deployed. These searches resulted in cell phones, weapons, drugs being removed from the prison. In addition to the multi-unit searches, Hunt conducts searches on a daily basis. The department has body scanners at every facility in an attempt to intercept contraband. Despite our efforts, drugs continue to get in, as they do in every facility. Well, how do drugs get in? Trustee work crews picking up a drop, visitors, corrupt employees are probably the 3 most common ways. All require someone on the outside to purchase, package, and make a drop off. We steadily assess what we're doing in this fight and make adjustments. The new warden and I have spent several hours looking at processes and making changes to tighten down on the areas we believe are the most likely routes. Elaine Hunt and the neighbor LCIW, the women's prison, have implemented a new procedure searching visitors that has already resulted in arrest and summons for introduction or possession. In fact, we've conducted over 848 vehicles. We've denied visits to 70 individuals. 4 individuals have been arrested, including 1 employee. Summons were issued to an additional 6, 2 of them being employees, and this is all since January 17th. We're reviewing our outside work crews and our trustees and how they're searched and ensuring that it's being done in an effective manner. Yes. And the staffing side, Secretary Westcott and Governor Landry backed increasing starting pay for cadets at Elaine Hunt and Louisiana State Penitentiary in 2025 by $2 an hour. This has resulted in a reduction in vacancies and more eyes in the prison. The ability to recruit and retain quality frontline staff is paramount in the fight against contraband. Prevention of introduction is a priority, but treating the demand is also part of the equation. Addiction is real, and addiction fuels the introduction. With that, I've asked our statewide Chief Mental Health Officer, Ms. Shelley Edgerton, to assess our current programs offered at Elaine Hunt, and she's already made some recommendations that have been or will be implemented. Various news outlets reported in December that we transferred numerous inmates out of Elaine Hunt, believed to be in the drug trade. That was inaccurate. At the time of the report, 1 inmate, Popeye from the video, was moved for investigative reasons. And for the record, Popeye, as he chose to be called, was mostly not credible and was seeking his 5 minutes of fame, which he got. Now he'll remain in protective custody for his own protection. By the way, when I say he wasn't credible, he also made a claim that WBRZ sent him $10,000 via Cash App, which obviously we know is false. I'll tell you that last Friday night at approximately midnight, we conducted a targeted search based upon intelligence we deemed credible and did in fact transfer out several inmates, believed to be key players in the trade. This divide and conquer move hopefully will quell drugs for a while. We do know that where there's a demand, a new supplier will step up. This is a fight we have to stay on top of every day. I want to take this time to point out and thank outside law enforcement agencies that have assisted in all of the above at Hunt. specifically Iberville Parish and State Police. Also, I want to thank District Attorney Tony Clayton, as he's going to have the privilege of prosecuting these cases as they roll forward. We have active investigations ongoing and will not discuss at this time, other than to say we do expect further arrest in the near future. We will send press releases in conjunction with the arrested agencies at the appropriate time. We have a great partnership with outside law enforcement and will continue to work with them as needed. To the families of the incarcerated, I do want to send a message. Please do not send money via Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, or any other payment system on their behalf. If they're telling you it's for the purchase of shoes, additional food, whatever, it's most likely a scam, and you're very likely to be purchasing drugs for your loved one. And for those of you that are bringing in drugs, whether it be visitors, staff, or whoever, you will be caught, you will be prosecuted. It's a matter of time. With that, thank you, and now I'm going to pass it off to Warden Day.
Good afternoon. I'm Travis Day, Warden of Elaine Hunt Correctional Center. I assumed this role as Warden of Elaine Hunt Correctional Center on January 12, 2026. I would like to begin by thanking Secretary Westcott and Chief of Operations Seth Smith for this opportunity. I would also like to thank Louisiana State Police, Iberville Parish Sheriff Brett Stassi, and District Attorney Tony Clayton for their support and our working relationship. Lastly, I would like to recognize that the employees of Elaine Hunt I would like to recognize and thank the employees of Elaine Hunt Correctional Center for their hard work, dedication that I witness on a daily basis. My goals as Warden of Elaine Hunt Correctional Center are as follows. Continue to provide for the safety of the public, employees, and individuals who are incarcerated with a system of operation that promotes stability of the institution. Continue to prepare individuals who are incarcerated for their release with educational, vocational, and other programs that provide an environment that promote change. Continue to provide quality medical and mental health services to an incarcerated population that have numerous comorbidities and mental health diagnoses. Some examples of those diagnoses and comorbidities. 86% of the population at Elaine Hunt are on medications. 86%. The average number of medications ordered per inmate is 7. Approximately 50 inmates are housed in what would be considered a hospital setting, and another 140 are housed in a setting equivalent to a nursing home. 45% have mental health diagnoses, and 70% are diagnosed with a substance abuse disorder. Other goals include further reduce operations costs and manage as efficiently as possible, increase employee retention, and focus on workforce development, which supports our agency's objectives and long-range planning through cross-training. In closing, I appreciate the opportunity to serve as Warden of Elaine Hunt Correctional Center and look forward to good things to come. Thank you.
All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and open it up. I'm going to have our communications director, Tiffany Dickerson, kind of get you guys lined up how we're going to ask questions. And again, everybody is available to answer questions for you guys. I'm going to remind you, we're keeping it on topic, and there's some things that we just cannot address.
Tony Clayton, the District Attorney for Iberville Parish, 18 JDC. I'll tell you, the state of affairs of our correction is doing well under Secretary Westcott. Just as I, as a citizen, cannot scream fire in a crowded theater, one reporter cannot scream or project a story that's not accurate, because the consequences are devastating. It's incumbent upon all of us to act responsibly. I'll tell you that Secretary Westcott and his team and the sheriff and I, we are in regular communications. And I'll say to you, he made the statement and I got it from him. Just as the old adage, you're looking for a needle in a haystack, you're looking for hay in a haystack when you have these individuals that Secretary Westcott has to take from the entire state of Louisiana, the bad, the ugly, and put them in, comparatively speaking, a matchbox. So those people didn't change their attitudes when they came there. They're there and he's policing them. And he's doing a damn good job. Let me tell you this. I see the reports. And I thank you guys for what you're doing. And we stand behind it. And I say to you as I go to my seat, it's incumbent that the media does it the right way. we're there, and you just can't project that type of visceral type of statements in this. They're not accurate. So that's not to all the media, and that's to whomever knows, that person knows who I'm talking about. And I say to you that that's just why we're here. But if you were to walk 1 second in their shoes, you will see what these gentlemen are doing. So with that, I say to you that we support this secretary. I'll tell you, it's better than it was, and it's getting better. And he's on top of it. Bringing in this new warden, we talk. And so, folks, I say that as the district attorney for that area, that this state is a better place because of what Secretary Westcott and this administration is doing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Okay, Tiffany, Sheriff Stassi, you want to say something?
Well, I wasn't prepared to talk, but I will say, under this administration, I've seen a difference. Since the warden is on site, we've arrested and we've written summonses to all those people mentioned earlier. When they leave Highway 74 and they go on to the state prison yard, they don't get 20 yards on that. Sometimes they're stopped and searched right on the site. We are working with them to make sure that we do everything we can to keep it out of there. I mean, we looking in the drones, we're looking in the employees, we're looking into drop-offs, we're looking into people who leave the facility to be trustees in different areas. We are looking into the cars that come on to the prison on a daily basis. These are potential ways that the drugs can get on that. All of those things are being looked into. This is a multi-level operation, and all the people that we arrest will be brought to justice with our district attorney. Thank y'all, and just give these people some time. They are working night and day to make this a better place for all of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start with Ethan, one question, and we'll go down the line. That's what we need.
I guess just first question for you, and for whoever wants to take it, you talk about all the myriad of substances that are going through the system right now, right? And even things that aren't, classified as narcotics, I guess. I guess just walk me through the difficulties of having to, watch over that and watch over the people who are housed there as well, using these things.
Right. When y'all want to, these guys are the ones that deal with it on a daily basis. I'll let them answer that.
That's a trick question, so to speak. There's no one answer for that. I can tell you though that compared to corrections 20 years ago, you were looking for a bud of marijuana, you were looking for white powder, you were looking for some very specific things that were a lot easier to recognize. As the secretary showed, the corner of that piece of paper is what we're looking for a lot of times with all the synthetics and the sprays that are out there. When you take that bundled with the property that they're allowed to have, their legal paperwork even, we have found that there. So it's a lot more complex. It's not as simple. Also, the canines are trained to sniff certain drugs. We don't necessarily have them trained to sniff the paper. I do know there's a few out there in the world, but they're changing the substance so quickly that it's hard to have that. So our hands are tied a lot more so in, I give you these papers, throw them on the floor, you tell me which one's got something sprayed on it. That's what we're having to go through. Also, again, our dogs or canines aren't able to find it. And, we didn't need all the body scanners. We didn't need all the technology whenever we were hiring, whenever we had a waiting list to hire. Whenever I started in corrections, we had 5 openings, we had 25 applicants. And unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but that's kind of where I'm at.
For anyone, has anyone at DOC been contacted by the FBI in regards to the drug issues?
Not to my knowledge. No, we are working with the, I don't know how much I can say. We were working with some federal agencies up north at David Wade Correctional Center, and they're helping us with drone detection, drone mitigation. But I will tell you, even state police investigators, and again, I don't want to get into the details of their investigation because it's still ongoing, but they even say they don't see a problem. It's nothing that's not unique. It's not unique to what's going on in corrections. We're talking about 2 overdoses in 2025. We're talking about 17 unexpected deaths at a prison that's basically a hospital, when in 2024 we had 35, and I never heard a peep from the media about any unexpected deaths in 2024. Again, I came on in August, so I don't know if what happened between January and August, but no, we haven't been contacted by the FBI.
I'm sure the secretary has a lot of overdose deaths are generally preceded by cardiac arrest or with some sort of respiratory failure. Are all of the deaths that are pending toxicology, has it been ruled out that they are not drug related? Or the cardiac deaths per se?
Our medical director may be the best one to answer that. However, I can tell you that we review all the deaths that occur within the department. I'm part of that review. I can tell you that if there's a screening and there's a lethal dose of a narcotic or any other substance in there, it's going to be ruled an overdose. It's not going to be ruled, cardiac, but he happens to have a ton of XYZ drug in his system. So I don't know if that's exactly what you're looking for, but that's it.
That doesn't come until sometimes months after the toxicology comes back.
What doesn't come until months
The
after?
fact that they might have had drugs in their system.
Whenever we get the autopsy and toxicology, if the toxicology shows a lethal amount of drugs in his system, it will be ruled an overdose.
So those deaths that were originally labeled cardiac or respiratory failure, they're updated as overdose deaths?
Yes, I mean, I need to talk to my medical director to verify that, but yes, I mean, I feel comfortable saying yes.
But we're not listing anything it's unexpected currently until we get to toxicology. And then from there, we label it either natural causes or an overdose, or again, in one case, a suicide. So no, next.
I think they said they were good. So ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's press conference.
Three more questions.
Go ahead.
Okay, so basically the overdose deaths that are pending toxicology, they get updated or no?
Unexpected deaths that are pending toxicology. Once the results are received, then they're labeled either a natural causes. Again, that may be heart related. That may be, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but it's a heart related issue. If the toxicology comes back positive, it is labeled an overdose. And we had 2 of those in 2025. We still have 4 pending of the 18. And so.
I think it's being said as if the toxicology comes in months after the autopsy, and I don't believe that to be the case. Because just like the one we got most recently, we got the toxicology. I said, I'm just trying to clarify this. It sounds like I'm understanding that the belief is we get an autopsy report given a cause of death, then we get the toxicology months later, and that's not accurate. That's not accurate.
Can I talk to the state police captain? Colonel, I'm so sorry.
Lieutenant Colonel.
Actually, okay. This is the second investigation by state police into Wayne Hunt in 2 years, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you guys not find what you needed to find the first time?
I think it may be 2 separate issues that you talk about for the investigation. So this, yes, ma'am. So the first investigation, we're actually still looking into that. So I really can't go into great detail there. But even this one, our detectives with the Louisiana State Police are working and assisting the Iberville Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Stassi with this ongoing investigation. And I'll tell you that the Secretary Westcott and DOC has been very cooperative and has provided all information that we have requested. So I can't go into great detail because it's still ongoing. And I'll say like the sheriff, just give us some time and just be patient. But as things come along, we'll be reported if any arrests that we make or anything along those lines.
Okay. It being ongoing must be new because we were told it was closed and the end result was an arrest for a gambling operation.
Yeah, that the gambler is separate from what we are assisting the sheriff's office with. Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Let me I just want to add one last thing. We requested state police. I don't want anybody to think that state police saw a problem and came in and said, we got to address this. The governor didn't call me and say, hey, we need to get state police in there. We request state police. They have resources that we don't have, whether dumping phones and being able to get information. So again, it's not a problem that they saw and came in. We requested their help. We work great with these guys. I appreciate all of y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. And thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.
So if you have any detailed questions, please send those questions to the DOC communication at LA.gov, and We follow